So how often were you eating during this time when you were studying?
I would say 1 time a day. Yeah, 1 meal a day.
And what meal?
And
would
right
that
now,
be? What meal would that be? Would you
Evening.
have breakfast? Evening.
Yeah.
Evening. Okay.
Yeah.
And you discovered this in the military, or how did you discover this method, or what made you come up with it?
I discovered this method through my own experience, because sometimes I didn't have time to eat. And I'm like, well, how do I not feel hungry? I just realized, fuck, I didn't eat. But I'm like, I'm energized. How is this possible? And I started researching it. I started researching about fasting. I'm like, this is great stuff. It's written in the Quran. We have Ramadan. We have in the Bible. We have it's even in religious scriptures. It's known for thousands and thousands of years, but we're not implementing it. Why is it that we have breakfast, lunch, and dinner? It's to make us weak. It's to make us docile. It's to make us So I was performing like high speed. I was performing sharp, and now I'm on 2 meals a day. I'm trying to get back to 1 meal a day. You know what I mean? I don't know where that went wrong, but I think comfort. So that's another conversation we're going to get into, comfort, because I think that is our biggest enemy as a man. But yeah, man. So for me, I was like, okay, what helped my clients? I won in 2018 the Dutch Fitness Awards with the highest rating in Amsterdam, and the main reason why people were voting for me with the highest rating was because of the transparency, the honesty, and a direct approach. I was not, again, I say it again, I was not a nice guy to be around. I was very direct, because that's all I knew for my entire life in my 20s.
But you think like this ideology now of fasting, and it's intermittent fasting. Yeah. It's quite well, you call it well known, but 8 years ago, even 10 years ago, it didn't really exist, right? When you were trying to implement it and putting this in, and then you were studying. So you were kind of like charting unknown territory and doing things that other people weren't doing. Now, you talk about fasting. Most people in the fitness industry understand what fasting is. But 10 years ago, if you said don't eat, people would probably think you're crazy, right?
Absolutely. And I this is the thing, I didn't even tell anybody. You know what I mean? Who knows? Who the fuck cares, right? But I was like, how people, when they start trying to fast, like, I feel weak, I feel tired, I don't have energy. Gotta go through that phase. But also in my book, I describe all the different types of fasting, right? Because it might not be 1 meal a day for you. Might be 2, I don't know, right? So there's so many different types of fasting, and then you got to figure out what works for you. Just like the same people that say bread is evil, like any carbs is like the enemy. I don't know. Depends.
I think now
what works for you, right?
Yeah. I think now they've even got to the point where they have, because I had someone on the podcast talking about this, they have like testing now of your genetic, right? So they know what foods inflame you and all this sort of stuff. This is all science that's catching up with us. I'm about to go through that testing phase, but when I was fighting professionally, I obviously learned a lot about dieting and all the rest of it. You'd be amazed how little food you actually need to survive. Like when I'm cutting weight, and I would be dropping 15 kilos in a week, 12 of those kilos in water in one day, but you would be amazed how little food your body needs to survive, and how you can draw energy out of your fat cells and all that other stuff. I mean, I need to listen to myself now because I'm putting on a bit of weight, but getting back to it. So for me, I think the optimal way to live for me personally is to eat twice a day. For me, I try and eat at 2:00, and I try and have an evening meal. That keeps me energy very, very high. I'm a very high output guy. I work like nonstop, constant. So if I was eating 3 times a day or eating heavy carb meals, all these sort of things, it really does bring me down. So I try and eat very, very like twice a day, 2:00, 8:00 kind of span. So I'm doing the fasting thing, but not even really trying. For me, it's effortless. I don't have to think about it, because it's just like, okay, that's what I do. And if I'm hungry in the morning when I wake up, I'll eat. I'm not like militant about it. But I think that ideology now for people is widely available, is what I'm trying to say. So for you, when you started it, and maybe when you released your book, I didn't even know you wrote a book. So now when you released your book, like,
I'm gonna bring it for you.
It was probably a brand new concept for a lot of people, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And especially because I integrated it with also what it did for the mind, right? Because we all want clarity, we all want focus. Is exactly what right now in this information society that we lack. We're so distracted, and we're so confused. Where are we heading? Where are we right now? What is our purpose?
I think for most people now, the world's like you said, mentioned being comfortable, but I think it's so easy. Like people are saying life's difficult now, and then prices are going up, and bills are more on electricity and water and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But the actual, if you look at existence 200 years ago, or even my dad's generation, that was the war generation when the World War II finished, like he grew up on rations. So he grew up like on rations, literally. So, and now when I grew up, you can have whatever you want. Like everything is so available and so convenient. And with, I mean, I know you spent a bit of time in Dubai, but if you have Kareem in Dubai, you just literally, boom, turns up at your door. Life is so convenient now, and people think it's hard. There's nothing hard about life. It's people are just becoming softer and softer and softer.
Absolutely.
And as people become softer, they start talking about what's my purpose. It's like, okay, if you need to think about what your purpose is, then your life's too easy. You know, like if the government's looking after you and paying your bills, what's my purpose? Your purpose is to get up off your ass and do something. You know, like I understand, and I have, you know, I think when you know what your purpose is, you're so much more motivated, and you work so much harder, and you do all these things. But I think the main reason why people are lazy is because their life is easy.
Yeah, this is one of the I would say the reasons why. The other reason is also a little bit more nuanced. Whereas if we look at society right now, that everything from media to our water to our even our school system is designed to continue to keep you weak, to keep you docile, to not, you know, right? So we cannot also, if we look at the generation now, I think we have a very, very concerning generation, whereas they are completely indoctrinated with the information that the government is providing. And I think you and I, we both understand, you know, the differences, and we can kind of like opt out. But right now we have kids, right? I'm going to say it on this podcast for the first, by the way, this is a new premiere. My girlfriend is pregnant, 3 months. So I'm already looking at like possibly homeschooling, but it's so important right now to protect our children from this. Whatever it is about our water, whatever it is about our food, everything in there is keeping us weak,